A girl rode by me on a bicycle. I yelled, "Cow!" She turned around to flip me off, and then she hit the cow. I think I've got politics all figured out. Tell me what you think. My son is flunking out of college. Said, "I'm going to choose the woman for you to marry." He said, "No." I said, "She's Bill Gates' daughter." He said, "Okay." I called Bill Gates. "I want your daughter to marry my son." He said, "No." I said, "He's the CEO of World Bank." He said, "Okay." I called the president of World Bank. "I want you to make my son the CEO." He said, "No." I said, "He's Bill Gates' son-in-law." He said, "Okay." We were talking about drinking and driving a while ago. Let's just talk about driving for a minute. I can't wrap my head around this. We're going to have self-driving vehicles, right? Well, it's inspired me to write a country song. I haven't finished it, but I'll tell you what it's about. It's about a guy whose dog stays, his wife stays, but his pickup leaves him. I think every woman's dream is to have a man pick her up in his arms, carry her into the bedroom, throw her down on the bed, and then clean the entire house while she sleeps. What a surprise. So this woman's coming out of heart surgery, and she sees God standing at the foot of the bed. She says, "Am I going to die?" God said, "No, you have 30 more years." She feels so good, she stays in the hospital. She gets liposuction, gets her breasts enhanced, gets her neck pulled up, an eyebrow lift, her nose fixed, and collagen in her lips. Walks out of the hospital, across the parking lot, she gets hit by an ambulance. 2 days later, she's standing in heaven. She runs into God. She said, "I thought I had 30 more years." God said, "I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you." My wife called me from down upstairs the other night. She said, "Do you ever get shooting pains all over your body and feel like somebody made a voodoo doll out of you and they're just sticking you with stuff?" And I said, "No." She said, "How about now?" It's a new one. I had to try it out, okay? My name is Gary Mule Deer. It's not my real name. I changed it. My real name's Elizabeth Mule Deer. I remember one time when I was in Sunday school, I was trying to look up this little girl's dress, and the teacher caught me. She said, "Gary, would Jesus do something like that?" I said, "Well, no, he'd probably just create a big wind and blow the whole thing off." Yeah. Mother walks into her son's bedroom and says, "Get up, it's time to go to church." He said, "I'm not going." She said, "Get up and get dressed, you're going to church." He said, "Give me one good reason." She said, "I'll give you 3. Number 1, I'm your mother. Number 2, you're 52 years old, you've been living here ever since you got out of high school. And number 3, you're the pastor." Wow, let's segue into this. I just happen to have this in my pocket. Things that were actually published in church bulletins last year. This afternoon, there will be a meeting in the south and north ends of the church. Children will be baptized at both ends. Gets better. Tuesday at 4 p.m., there will be an ice cream social. All ladies giving milk, please come early. Thursday at 5 p.m., there will be a meeting of the Little Mothers Club. All wishing to become little mothers will please meet with the pastor in his study. Oh. This being Easter Sunday, we will ask Mrs. Brown to come forward and lay an egg on the altar. Oh. Tonight's sermon, "What is Hell?" Come early and listen to our choir practice. The sermon this afternoon, "Jesus Walks on Water." The sermon tonight, "Searching for Jesus." This is my favorite. Weight Watchers will meet at 7 p.m. at the First Presbyterian Church. Please use the large double doors at the side entrance. Whoa, all right. You guys are all right. Yeah. Here's a word about Folgers coffee for senior citizens. The best part of waking up is just waking up. Old guy's walking down the hall in this retirement home. He sees this door open. He walks in. There's this old lady standing there. He walks up to her. He says, "Bet you can't guess how old I am." She says, "I bet you I can. Drop your pants." He drops his pants. She says, "You're 96." He said, "Gee, you're right. How did you know?" She said, "You told me at breakfast this morning." This is a great microphone. Guy calls up his boss and says, "I'm sick." His boss says, "What's wrong?" The guy says, "I have anal glaucoma." His boss says, "What's that?" The guy says, "Really can't see my ass coming into work today." 88-year-old Harriet calls 90-year-old husband Harvey. He said, "Harvey, you drive on Interstate 40? He said, "Yep." He said, "For God's sake, be careful. There's some idiot out there in a car driving the wrong way." Harvey said, "One idiot? Hell, there's hundreds." Harriet and Harvey were married for 65 years. They fought every day of their lives. Harriet passes away. She's standing at the gates of heaven. St. Peter said, "Harriet, it's nice to see you. Only one thing you have to do before you come in." She said, "What's that?" He said, "You have to spell a word." She said, "What is it?" He said, "Love." Harriet says, "Love." He says, "Come on in, Harriet." Harriet steps to the gate. St. Peter said, "Harriet, I've been standing here all day. I really need to go to the restroom. Will you watch the gates?" She said, "I just got here." He said, "You know what to do." St. Peter walks away. Harriet turns around, and there's Harvey. He said, "Harvey, what are you doing here?" Harvey said, "Harriet, I felt so bad after the services today. I just went home and laid down and died." She said, "Well, Harvey, only one thing you have to do before you come in." He said, "What's that?" She said, "You have to spell a word." He said, "What is it?" She said, "Czechoslovakia." You guys are great. Want to do a sing-along? All right, do the words. Taco Bell tastes 3 times better. Tastes just like a Chihuahua sweater. This is the kids part of my show, okay? How many kids do we have here tonight? Wow, right there. Kids, I'm going to give you a couple of tips. Before I do, I'm going to play the best dog song you've ever heard in your entire life. First, tips for kids. Number 1, only brush the teeth you want to keep. And number 2, just think if YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook were all the same company, we could call them You-Twit-Face. And now, I promise you this favorite dog song. I want a pit bull. I want a pit bull. I want a pit bull. I want a fuzzy little puppy with an evil grin that'll tear that bone right out of your shin. I want a pit bull. I want a stocky little puppy that's always pissed that'll fetch that bone right out of your wrist. I want a pit bull. Well, that concludes the children's portion of my show.